Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I'm going to be talking about Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Ohki OVA 5 Episode 1. This came out a few months ago, and the second episode is out in Japan now, so it should be getting subbed soon, so I thought I'd finally make this video. Alright, let's just jump into it. This is a 30-minute OVA. They're coming out every 3 months, so there's plenty of time between them. But watching this first episode finally, they have no budget. They have less budget than OVA 4. It looks like, and maybe that's because OVA 4 was 4 episodes instead of 6, so they didn't have as much. They could sort of concentrate the money they did have a little bit better than this. But boy, does this look cheap. In OVA 4, there was the beginning of one of the episodes has Ryo-Ohki just running around to everyone's room, and that was kind of fun. But this one, Ryo-Ohki can't even run because it's too expensive, so she just floats everywhere now. So yeah, it looks cheap. It looks real cheap. So anyway, let's get into what actually happens in the episode, and it is exactly what happened in OVA 4. It is just exposition. First half takes place right after Kenchi was born. So this takes place before the final episode of OVA 4. Rhea and Kenchi have moved into the house with Tenchi in them, and that's pretty much all the information we get out of that. I have notes to the side here, so if I go quiet for a second, it's because I'm looking through these. But basically, the whole first 15 minutes is just Rhea and Tenyo talking. It's just a 15-minute conversation between the two of them. They were mainly talking about Tenyo's mother, Kione, and that's what this whole episode seems to be about, is trying to just... We're trying to figure out things that Kione had done in the past that up until this point we had no reason to think she had done anything like that. Like her whole character that we were established with, that they established to us in OVA 3, which she was just sort of goofy, right? And now we're learning that she was actually incredibly smart, and that Rhea, who was sent here from a different world, to have a child that would be stronger than her to send back to save that world, they think now that Kione might have been researching a way for herself to be sent to then take care of the problem for them. And they just say this. They just talk about this. If this had been a 30-minute episode just about Kione, it might have been better, and we saw her, doing research or planning to go in place of Rhea's child. Like, that might have been good. It would have been better than this. Anyway, so that was the first half. Rhea, Tenyo talking, and then Tokimi shows up for like a teensy bit, because Tokimi is sort of the god of the world Rhea comes from, which I don't know if it had been said in any of the shows. It had been said in a doujin that Kajishima did. But yeah, so she is in charge of that world, but also just wouldn't tell Rhea anything about it. So it just made that feel pointless. Like, she shows up, Rhea is pondering, wondering what happened to the people she left behind. Tokimi shows up, says, "Hey, I know, but I can't tell you," and then explains to us why she can't just tell her. Instead of, they could have just, it doesn't add anything. Just tell her, "Oh yeah, the people that you care about, yeah, they're kind of dead, but not really dead." It was weird. If you watched War on Geminar, Rhea was wondering about Neizai and Doll, and what happened to them. If you've seen that show, you know what happened to them. But Tokimi just sort of shows up and says, "Yeah, I can't tell you, really." So it was pointless. That was pointless. There was also one shot where, if I'm doing this video right, I'll just have screenshots of the show as I talk about it here. There was one shot where it seemed like they were trying to make the little tiny Tokimi look sexy, and it was kind of weird. If I'm remembered, like that screenshot that I'm talking about will be here right now. It was weird. Anyway, that's the whole first 15 minutes. Just talking back and forth. with occasionally Tenyo doing something dumb. The second half, we get a bit of a time skip to 5 years later now, and I think this is when the final episode of OVA 4 took place. Is this same time? Shortly after that, I guess. And now, instead of it just being Tenyo and Rhea talking, it is now, Tenyo, Rhea, Kiriko, the red-haired Seto girl, Karen might be, I don't know. They all sound the same. Like, you know who I'm talking about. Karen, Gyokuren, Suiren, and the other one, who I can never remember. But I think it's Karen, the red-haired one. They just sit around and talk about stuff. That's it. And it's not even stuff that is important here. It's just saying, hey, stuff that happened in the GXP novels, and we're just going to allude to it a little, and that's it. It's only there for people that read the novels to be like, oh yes, I remember the thing that they're talking about right now. Pointless. It was pointless. The first half, boring discussion about nothing. Second half, the same thing, except it's even worse, because at least the first half was sort of telling me what they were talking about. The second half is just like, hey, this thing that happened in the novels that you can't read, well, we're gonna just sort of talk about that a little bit, and it was bad. Okay, now let's get to the end of the episode. This is it. A 30-minute episode. I can only talk for like 7 or 8 minutes about it. The end of the episode has Tenchi and his father show up, and then it ends with Nobuyuki, Rhea, Tenchi asking Kiriko if Seina and all those girls would be willing to move their house to the same property that Tenchi and the rest of the people, and Tenchi's house is on, right? And then they agree. And that's the whole episode. That's everything that happens. Yeah, that's it. It's not good. It's just exposition again. I didn't particularly care for it. I'm hoping that they're just saving their budget for maybe like one really good episode at the end. But I'm not holding my breath. The second episode's out. I got plenty of time to make a video on it though, since the third episode doesn't come out until be like August, I believe. I think it's August is when it comes out. Maybe September. I don't know. Sometime in the next couple months. So I'll make a video on that. But before I end this, I made like a little tiny wish list, right, of things that I would like to see in this season, and I doubt any of them will happen, but I'm gonna put them here anyway. And if any of them happen, I'll bring it up and mention it. One thing, this is one that'll never happen. I just want one episode that only focuses on Tenchi and the girls in his harem. That's all I want. One episode of that. I don't think that's too much to ask. We're getting closer to when Tenchi starts having kids, which is another thing that I would like to see. We could just do a whole episode on that. That would be cool. I doubt that's going to happen. Another thing that I want to see, Tenchi's wedding. What is it, 25 years? Longer than that. 27 years since the first season of the show came out. We still haven't got Tenchi's wedding. I want to see that. We have that illustration from a long time ago that has Tenchi and sort of all the girls there, minus Noike, who hadn't been invented yet. But I want to see that. I want to see Tenchi's kids. I want just an episode focused on them. And then another thing that I would like to see, which we got a little hint of it in this, sort of. There's a doujin that Kajishima made that is sort of explaining how Kenshi became like almost like one of those weird survivalist guys. And he became like that by playing with Ryo-Ohki. And I really enjoy that doujin, and I would like to just see that animated, but I don't think that'll happen. Because even when he has a chance to animate some stuff, he just talked like he could have, instead of just having people sit around and talk around a table, we could have seen clips of things that happened in the GXP novels. That would have been cool. It'd be like, hey, remember that time this happened, and then we get a little brief clip of it? That might have been more interesting. But instead, it's just people talking about it. So I doubt we'll see that. And that's it. Those are just a few things that I'd like to see. Tenchi's wedding, Tenchi's kids, episode on them, and Ryo-Ohki and Kenshi playing a game. That's it. That's all I want. I don't think I want to get any of that. But anyway, that's it for the first episode of Tenchi Muyo OVA 5, Episode 1. I didn't care for it. It was just sort of dull, and it's just exposition. But I'll keep trucking, and who knows? Maybe somebody will step in and tell Kajishima, "Hey, maybe we can do an episode that isn't just people talking around a table. This is the 5th episode of that we've done. Maybe we can do something else." Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.